Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Daytona. Here tonight we have the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, and we are officially kicking off Speed Weeks here tonight with some dual racing. My name is William Tiller. Tonight I am joined in the booth by Hunter Parsons, and Cody Knott is the man behind the decks here tonight. And Hunter, I am excited to kick off Speed Weeks. We had a bit of a calamity race at the Coliseum, a fun race, if you will. What do you expect to see here tonight in these dual races?
Yeah, like you said, last week was kind of a fun race, and tonight's actually the kickoff to the season. Tonight, everything starts being put out on the line for the race to the championship. Everything is going into place with points and lining up for the big Daytona race starting up next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge sample piece of what we're going to see. We were speaking about this off air, Hunter. I believe there's already some first qualifiers for the main event next week. I think you were speaking of Bullock's already qualified in that pole position.
Yeah, the 17 of Brandon Bullock has secured the pole for Daytona for week one. He had the quick time in qualifying last week before the clash. And later on, we'll see in duel number two, Chris Blanchard. He did go second quick overall, so those will be your front row locked in for week one at Daytona.
Yeah, they are locked in indeed. As you see on your screen here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, of course, Brandon Bullock and that 17 machine will roll off first here in dual race number one. Kyle Hess will roll off number two. Devin Painter in third. Jonathan Pugh in fourth. Keith Bradley in fifth. Cody Knott in sixth, although Cody's up here in the booth here tonight, won't be racing in the field here tonight. Blake Lothian in seventh. Joey Deschette in eighth. Robbie Richards in ninth. Jimmy Amos in 10th. And I'll throw it on over to you, Hunter, for the rest of the starting grid for dual race number one.
Yeah, 11th will be the double zero of Huck Wingington. To his outside, Stephen Thomas in the 23. Jonathan Munda in the 15, and to his outside, Jose Luis Rivera in the 20. Tyler Dittmer rolling off in 15th. To his outside, CJ Fonda. He did have a top three last week at the Clash. And rounding out the field in the final row will be the 971 of Nathan Maurer. To his outside, 30 of Ron Hunter. And that will be your duel number one here at Daytona.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer was a late entry into this race. I believe he joined this series just today, Hunter. So we're curious to see what he has in store here tonight. But folks, here in dual race number one, we'll race 30 laps here at Daytona. We'll have one sets of tires on these trucks here tonight. The thing, Hunter, to watch out for here tonight is 65% fuel capacity. We were speaking about it off air before we went live here tonight. These drivers are going to have to pit with very few laps to go.
Yeah, we're estimating somewhere around 20 to 23 or 24 laps, so 30 lap race. Overall, pretty short race when you think about it coming down to the super speedway stuff. So you're gonna have to hit under green if you do have no caution up to that point, of course. So it's gonna be probably a little bit of strategy whether you want to pit early or wait it out till the very end.
Yeah, a bit of strategy indeed. We've seen it every week in other truck series here at NASRA. This is a bit of a different series, though, Hunter. A few different drivers in this series on these fast Fridays, if you will. Here we come off the corner number 4 here at Daytona. The pace lights are off of that pace truck. We're waiting. Barney the Flagman up in his perch with that green flag will officially jump off Speed Weeks here at Daytona. Just waiting here as Bullock in that 17 truck will take us to the drop of the green flag. Here we go, Hunter. We're ready. The drivers are ready, and so is Barney with that green flag as Bullock will take us down to corner number 1.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind, Will, no matter what happens here in this race, whether Bullock wins or he gets cut down on lap 4, he'll remain on the pole next week. So for him, it's just going out there and collecting a win, collecting some money, maybe even a few points. I don't know if he's not staying for bonus points. So for him, it's just him going out there trying to win that.
Yep. Seems like they're racing for some playoff points here tonight. Get down to corner number 3 right now. Look, as we were just talking about, heads now slid to about the 4th position. Jonathan Pugh is leading the way off of the corner number 4 right now as Duchette right there in the 16 truck right next to him. We're side by side across the line here on the front stretch. Lap 1 is in the books.
Last week, Joey Doucette did have a little bit of trouble at the Clash at the Coliseum, just not having anything go his way. And as you said, he leads that first lap going into turn one with a little bit of help behind him of the 11 to Derek Kilgore. To his inside, Jonathan Pugh is edging out with Brandon Bullock on his rear bumper. That outside row, though, is going to have the momentum as they come down the backstretch, neck and neck between Pugh and Doucette for that top spot as they head off into turn three.
Yeah, Pugh's going to take us down to corner number 3. Still side by side with Doucette on the outside. We are tandem racing around Daytona to the apex of 3 and 4. Looks like Bullock's going to push the 19 truck a little bit further ahead right there on the inside track. As we spoke about, Bullock's just having fun here tonight. He has already qualified first for the main event. Lap number 2 is in the books as we cross the line, heading down to corner number 1.
Not a whole lot of racing throughout the field. Everyone seems to be pretty calm, pretty cool and collected. Double up through the field. A few stragglers single out behind. Hopefully one of them don't lose the draft, as losing the draft could be very vital.
Yeah, it's getting a little hectic right there off of 2. We got very, very close to one another as Doucette almost drifted into that middle lane there. Doesn't seem to me here as we dig down to corner number 3. He's liking that push from that truck behind him right there. That is the 11 pushing him along. Doucette keeps kind of squirming out of the way. I'm not sure if he likes to being pushed like that.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit early to be worrying about trying to be pushed up front and putting yourself at risk. However, these guys do have a fast repair for tonight, so definitely keep that in mind, as you can afford to make one mistake, but you definitely don't want to have to use it very early, as they typically don't have a fast repair.
No, they really don't. In all the series that NASRA puts on here, these drivers almost get a little Christmas present, if you will, as Christmas was about a month ago now. They get a little Christmas gift when they get those fast repairs, because in a regular season event, there are no fast repairs, but there goes Doucette to the inside. He's going to pass Jonathan Pugh down into corner number 3. We have a new race leader on the racetrack as Kilgore is now left by himself on the top side lane. The inside track is now the fast track around 3 and 4.
Yeah, Doucette dropping down in front of Jonathan Pugh there really left Kilgore kind of out to dry, as you will, as the momentum shift is very critical, and just kind of checked up that top lane as the top lane has deformed and 3 wide across the tri-oval. Going into turn 1, Joey Doucette still leading them.
As we come on the apex of 1 and 2, Doucette still our race leader on the exit of the corner. We are now single file on that inside lane all the way down to about the 5th position. See a truck pull out to the outside lane there, trying to build it up. Hard to see who that was. Looks like it's the number 99 pulls up, but as he does that, more trucks now go to the inside. That was Painter that went out there. Has a little bit of speed as we dig down into corner number 3. They're trying to build that top side lane up there, Hunter, but it's not going to be enough, as Doucette will take us out of 4 as still our race leader.
Yeah, that was the 99 jumping up in front of the 29, I believe, of Keith Bradley. It just takes a little bit of time for that top lane to gain some momentum, but once it does, it is very hard for that bottom line to keep pace, as the 99 is going to be inching ahead of Joey Doucette for the race lead as they head off into turn 1, followed by Keith Bradley on the top. Doucette and Pugh still holding strong, as Pugh is not leaving the tailgate of that 16, keeping that inside line up for a fight for that top spot.
Yeah, Jonathan Pugh is pushing Doucette right into the corner right now as we dig down to corner number 3. That number 99 is to the top side right there with Bradley in the 29. They're pushing each other along, trying to stay cohesive on that top side lane. Not going to be enough, though, as Jonathan Pugh is going to push Doucette out of the corner right now. Doucette will take us to the line as our race leader. Make it 24 laps to go here, dual race number 1.
A very good start to this one early on, as we are lap 7 of 30. Not a whole lot racing throughout the field. Everyone pretty cool, calm, and collected. Not something we saw a whole lot of last week.
No, not at all, Hunter. I'm sure the drivers were anxious to get out of LA after that race last week. I think I lost count of the amount of cautions there. I would say over under at least 18 or 19 in that race. It was a 50-lap shootout at the Coliseum that took us about an hour and a half there, Hunter. So I'm sure these drivers were excited to go super speedway racing and draft a little bit, because there was no drafting last week as we come off of 4.
Yeah, talking to a lot of the drivers even afterwards and throughout the week, a lot of them did have fun. Just unfortunate that it took that long to complete it, but maybe they'll go back in the future at some point with maybe a few rule changes.
Yeah, it was a fun race. I love the layout of the Coliseum, but sometimes, those caution flags fly. I think for us on the broadcast, our longest green flag run in that race was only about 4 or 5 laps. So, bit of a change of pace here tonight. No cautions yet out on the racetrack as Doucette still is our race leader on the inside, taking us down to corner number 3.
Yeah, that top lane is forming again with Devin Painter, Bradley, and I do believe the 20 of Jose, who's usually one of those front runners, Keith and Jose at these super speedways. So now is the time to shine and show what you got, trying to gain those extra few spots on the grid for next week at Daytona.
As we are side by side heading down into corner number 1. We have Doucette on the inside. We have the number 99 of Painter on the outside. Looks like Painter's going to lead us down into corner number 1. We're side by side. Painter's thinking about getting to the inside. He's going to be left in the middle. We're 3 wide for the lead off of 2.
Yeah, unfortunate for Painter, just no one's going to go with him. So if he doesn't get some help pretty soon, he is going to drop to the end of that line. And it does look like he is going to get down third car in line behind Jonathan Pugh. So very lucky for Painter not to almost drop an anchor, as you will, and fall to the tail of the field.
As we come off of 4, Doucette is going to take us off of the corner as our race leader. Painter for me right there looked like Forrest Gump on the school bus. He was looking for a seat, and everybody was saying this seat is taken. But now he has found a spot in that 3rd position on the inside track instead of the outside track as we dig down into the corner right now. As Doucette still is our race leader with 21 laps to go.
Keith Bradley in the 29 just jumped down. I'm not sure if he got an iffy push or not from behind him, but Keith Bradley from the top lane to a sudden urge to that bottom behind Devin Painter. Not quite sure what happened behind him.
Yeah, Painter's still right there in that 3rd position as we dig down to corner number 3. Doucette's our race leader. Again, Hunter, we see that top side lane trying to build up as much as they can. Not going to be enough, though. There's only 3 trucks on that top side right now as we go down the front stretch. Doucette still is our race leader. No battles for the lead just yet. And even though, Hunter, he's felt a little bit of pressure there from that top side lane, Doucette has stayed strong on the inside.
Yeah, I think a lot of that just has to do with that top lane, not getting enough cars or enough momentum. A lot of people just kind of dipping out early. But right now, that top lane is forming with those 3 cars of Jose Rivera, Stephen Thomas, and I do believe that is the 22 of Jeff Sickles up on the top lane.
Yeah, it looks like to me right there, we got Rivera up there, we have Thomas, and it looks like exactly it is Sickles up there as well in that 22 truck. And we're battling it out right now, but just can't seem to build up the speed on the top side, led by Rivera right there. They keep getting close enough. Right now, they're about the 3rd truck in the line. As we cross the line, make it 19 laps to go. As you said, will take us down to corner number 1 as the race leader. The inside track, though, is so close together. So nose to tail right now. It's going to take a hard move to get past these guys. As we're going to watch this drone camera point of view right now with Rivera, you see that huge run he had into the corner there, Hunter. But it's just not going to be enough, though, because that line of draft on the inside is so strong.
Yeah, and to be able to get that top side rolling, you don't want to try and almost side draft as you will in the corners, as there can be a lot of checkup or having to move your truck out a little bit to kind of give it a little bit of that space so you don't collect anyone. So definitely need to keep a nice steady line right in the middle of the racetrack, try and stay close to each other's bumpers, and that will ultimately win you a race on the top roof here at any super speedway.
Yeah, they're going to have to build up a little bit more, get on their Bob the Builder vibes on that top side. It's not going to be enough with 3 trucks. They're almost hoping for somebody else to pull out a line of this huge Nokia snake game line that we have all the way from the leader all the way back down the grid. The only 3 trucks that are out on that outside lane, Rivera right there. We have Sickles out there as well with the 23 truck right in the middle of those 2. 22 and 23 right there on the top side. But right now, the 19 of Pugh is going to push Doucette right into corner number 3. Still is our race leader here with 18 laps to go as we hit the apex of 3 and 4.
Yeah, Jonathan Pugh is doing a great job keeping that 16 truck of Doucette out in front. As I say that, the 20 of Jose is going to get a nice push by the 23 of Stephen Thomas. It may just get him out in front.
The only thing as we watch these races here, Hunter, I'm sorry to jump in there. As you see, Rivera's going to try to battle for the lead here on the apex of 1 and 2 with a big push from Thomas in that 23 machine. But as we come off corner number 2, let's see if it is enough right now. And this goes to my point right now as we're drag racing down the backstretch for the lead. For Rivera to hold this position, though, I was just about to mention it to you, Hunter. Yes, you can race with 3 trucks on the outside lane. Yes, you can build up a lot of speed. Yes, you can use that draft to your advantage. But at some point, you're going to have to get in front of Doucette right there in the lead and block that inside lane. You almost want to join that inside lane if you can, but it just doesn't seem like they can get there enough to get ahead of Doucette to drop down to the inside.
No, and if you're Jose, you definitely don't want to leave Thomas hanging, because that could just be the deciding factor at coming down to that last lap. If you need help, he may just not help you. So definitely wouldn't want to make anyone mad or cut any ties early on.
Definitely not. You need all the friends you can get right now as super speedway racing down the front stretch. We're going to ride on board with Jonathan Pugh right now. Excellent cockpit point of view right now as he's pushing Doucette along. Looks like Rivera's got some speed right there on the outside, being pushed by Thomas in that 23 machine into 3 and 4 right now with 16 laps to go.
One thing to keep in mind, like we said earlier on in this broadcast, that fuel window. As I say that, we have cars taking pit road early. That we are in that fuel window. We estimated about 20 to 24 laps as we have a car head on into the wall going into pit road. Fortunately, a caution will not be brought out as they were off the racing surface. Not sure who that was. But like we said, that fuel window, about 20 to 24 laps. So at any point after lap 10, some of those guys, it was free game to come down pit road.
Yeah, interesting aspect to me there, Hunter, is that Doucette was the only leader to head down pit road. Of course, some other trucks inside the top 10 headed down with Doucette, but he was the only leader in this top pack that headed down pit road in that pit window. And it's a bit of a flip strategy, if you will. Hunter was curious to see how these drivers would tackle that 65% fuel capacity here tonight. And it looks like some drivers will head down early. It looks like the rest of the field will head down now.
Yeah, from the super speedway experience, the longer you are in a field before you pit, there's a lot of brake checking, a lot of leaving room in between trucks. So if you're only going about 180 miles an hour, but if you can get 4 or 5 trucks to pit together and you guys come out together and you keep that nice bubble between trucks, you can easily do 185, 186 miles an hour, and you can make up so much more time just by getting that smaller group, as I mentioned, to come out on the same strategy together.
Yeah, as we lead down to corner number 3, looks like we have a new leader on the racetrack. That's Ron Hunter in that 30. We have Nathan Maurer in that 971. They have yet to head down pit road. I do believe they are still pushing that envelope around the corner right now. We're just waiting for them to head down pit road, and they do just that as we start talking about them. That's Ron Hunter in that 30 and Nathan Maurer in that 971. We'll see what happens here in this reshuffling of the grid. Looks like we have a strong line coming up to the outside, led by Doucette in that 16. It's going to be quite a battle right here down to corner number 3.
Yeah, Doucette will be leading that top lane around with Robbie Richards, Keith Bradley, and Devin Painter. Definitely a good stop by those 4, as they will inherit the top 4 spots with another group short in hot pursuit behind them.
Yeah, as we head down the front stretch right now, we're going to make it 12 laps to go. Doucette is back up in the lead, but he's lost his draft partner of Jonathan Pugh in that 19 truck. He's found a new partner up there, though. Looks like the 48 machine of Robbie Richards is going to push him along. Bradley in that 29 is the 3rd truck in line as we come to the apex of 1 and 2 down the backstretch right now. 13 laps to go. As Doucette will take us down the backstretch down into 3.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Doucette and Richards, pair of Mission 1 esports drivers out front leading this one, as we have Jose Rivera in the 20 machine looking to get that top lane rolling again as they're coming up on a lap truck of, I do believe, Maurer.
What a classy move there. You know, we don't really spotlight lapped cars on the broadcast here, but Hunter, I've seen it a bunch of times here in the broadcast booth where lapped cars don't really know how to act, if you will. Some drivers will go really low, some drivers will try to mix it up with the leaders as they come by. Nathan Maurer did everything he can to get out of the way of all these leaders. I got to tip my hat to that because that was a classy move from the 971.
Yeah, and my correction, he was not a lap car. He was just one of those cars that pit late, and the leaders were just catching back up to him. So he did give the space to those faster trucks, and as he had done that, sorry for stumbling on my words, he's gonna catch back up to that draft and be in content for a win yet.
Sometimes it's good to give, sometimes it's good to take. And in that situation, he gave a little bit, but now he is right back in the mix trying to build up that top side lane. And who knows, Nathan Maurer might be in the mix at the end of this race. As you said, we'll take us across the line, making it 11 laps to go here in dual race number 1. Down to the corner, now we are drag racing with a huge run on the outside right there, Hunter, as we come to the apex of 1 and 2.
Yeah, as they are coming up on Jimmy Emos, who I do believe was that truck that made contact with that inside wall earlier on. He is going to let the leaders come on by as they head off into turn 3. Jose Rivera in that 20 will be out in front of the 16 of Doucette, as Doucette and Robbie Richards are going to be coming back to the bottom. They are going to be coming to lap 21 this time by.
Yeah, what a great run here tonight out of Rivera. Wherever he finishes in this duel, I'm excited to see what he performs like next week in the main event. Make it 10 laps to go down to corner number 1. Rivera still trying to inch ahead of Doucette right up there. He needs to take his draft buddy. That looks like that is Tyler Dittmer right up there in the mix in that pinked out 34 machine right there. Coming off with 2 still. Rivera's our race leader. They need to figure out here, though, Hunter, how to get in front of Doucette on the inside lane. If they can close the door on Doucette, now being pushed by his teammate Robbie Richards down the backstretch with a huge run down into 3, then that will get them the race victory. For them to try to keep inching out, I don't know if that's going to be enough with 10 laps to go.
For sure, all they're going to have to do is just try and stay as tight as they can, as close as possible. It's going to be hard to, for sure, get down in front of that 16 of Doucette to try and take away that bottom lane. But personally, I would rather be up on that middle groove and just hope you can get a nice push to the finish.
Yeah, they are building up that top side lane there. It looks a lot more cohesive, a lot more stuck together. It's about a 4-car tandem now on that top side. We have Tyler Dittmer up there. We have Rivera up there. Nathan Maurer in the 971. I believe there's one more truck in the mix. It's hard for me to see that number right now, but about 4 trucks on the top side pushing along, trying to keep up with that inside track that's led by Doucette, the 16, who has led the majority of tonight's dual race. He has his teammate Robbie Richards in that 48 as we come to the apex. So 3 and 4 with 9 laps to go.
And as we have been talking about that top lane and trying to keep everything tight together, a lot of it comes on the pusher, but I firmly believe a lot of it comes from that lead car. You need that lead car to hold a nice steady pace so you can be able to give those pushes throughout the straightaway. And even coming through the trial, well, you need that front car to be able to be a leader, as you will, to bring that whole outside row with them.
Yeah, essentially you want to play follow the leader as we come to the apex of 1 and 2 as we exit 2 down the backstretch right now for Doucette and the 16 on the inside lane. That's essentially been the name of the game here tonight. Just follow Doucette along on the inside track as we're going to ride on board with Tyler Dittmer. He's the second truck in line on that top side, pushing Rivera along. And you see that right there, Hunter. It's very interesting to me that you're not pushing straight on the back bumper there. You almost want to go to right, left. You want to shuffle it around a little bit because we saw what happened just a little bit earlier. If you push the guy in front of you the wrong way, that driver in front of you is going to get very uncomfortable. You're going to see him squirm a little bit. You're going to see him try to move that wheel, try to find a better draft line. It looks like Rivera is very comfortable the way that Dittmer is pushing him along here down into 1.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to try and hook the guy either. I personally don't like the whole bump drafting because it could just, if you're trying to get that little bit of extra space or spots, the bump drafting is nice, but for momentum and speed-wise, you want to try and stay as close as you possibly can without making any of that contact. Because by the time you give them that bump draft, you're almost slowing down your momentum a little bit. Whereas if you're just nice and tight, keeping that space in between everything, it's going to be a lot faster.
Very fast indeed, and it looks like that's been the strongest line on the top side for tonight. We've seen different car tandems up there. We've seen 3-car tandems, 2-car tandems. We've seen a bunch of lines trying to be formed. But right now, Rivera is leading that topside lane. He is now our race leader heading down to the corner. They have inched just enough in front of Doucette. If he wants to pull down there and get pushed by the 16, he can make that decision. But he's going to stay topside with Dittmer as we come off a 2 down the backstretch.
As you mentioned, popping down in front of the 16, it almost seems like that may be the right decision right now, as that bottom lane has just been so strong. You do not want to leave Dittmer though, as we mentioned earlier. You don't want to cut off those ties, but right now that bottom lane has just been way too strong all night. So at this point, I would almost jump down as soon as you possibly can. Maybe even take the win away from that 16.
Yeah, but the curious aspect to me right here as we cross this line, make it 5 laps to go here in dual race number 1. It looks like to me, Hunter, the inside lane has the fast track around the corner. You see right here around 1 and 2. It looks like they're going to gain a lot of speed right now. And then down the backstretch, it looks like the top side lane will have the speed as they're going to inch along a little bit more draft, a lot more trucks now in that lane. So it's a good mix of who's going to come out of the corners the fastest. As we have trucks now testing that middle lane. Looks like we're going to try a 3 wide down to the corner for the lead. We are. There's a truck shooting the gap down to 3. We have trucks wrecking right now. Nathan Maller's involved. Robbie Richards is involved. The 48 truck's going to take damage, and the yellow flag is out with 5 laps to go.
Unfortunate. Not sure what happened behind the 29 of Keith Bradley, as Bradley was your leader. Not sure who went with him. I believe making initial contact, as Cody in our booth will get you a replay here shortly.
Wow, what an ending to this race, Hunter. We've had no caution so far here tonight. We just had a truck try to shoot the gap, go 3 wide right there. We even had many 3 wide situations here tonight. We just had one with 5 laps to go. We'll essentially have a green-white checker to end this race. Let's check out this replay here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network.
As we are going off into turn 3, I believe that is the 11 of Kilgore that gave Maurer a little push and ended up pushing Kilgore up into Dittmer. And after that, just all chaos ensues. Having nowhere for anyone to go. You're going so fast, it is hard to come to an abrupt stop.
Yeah, and it just looked like some drivers were just thrown off the fact that a truck was shooting the gap there 3 wide. It caused a little bit of a scurry, a little bit of a commotion between the drivers. Some of the drivers got very uncomfortable with what was unfolding there. And it looked like there was a little tiny incident before that, as you mentioned, a little bit of contact with the 34 machine of Dittmer. And then that just spiraled out of control. You saw Kilgore make contact with Nathan Maurer in the 971. He got totally sideways, and then you just have the domino effect after that.
Yeah, when you're 2 3 wide racing going through the corners at Daytona or Talladega, and there's is contact. It's after that, it's just all up to the fate, and hopefully you come out alive out of it. There's just a lot going on, a lot of people trying to duck and dive out of the way, and unfortunately for a lot of those guys, just could not have it go their way. But fortunate for them, they do have a fast repair to use, as we are just gonna have 3 laps to go. So no one's certainly out of this one yet.
No, not at all. And what we just saw there, Hunter, it's going to be hard to seal the deal. Even if you're the fastest truck out there, you're running the line that's been fast for you all night, whether it's the top side, whether it's the low side. You have to watch out for some crazy moves, as we just saw here, to bring out our first caution of the night. Because what I've seen almost every call here at Daytona in these trucks, there's always at least a 3-truck battle at the line or a photo finish here. So stay tuned to the end of this race, as we'll have essentially a green-white checker to end dual race number 1.
Wow, we have a break under caution. How about we bring up Dittmer if we can? Get his take as to what happened there.
Yeah, see if we can't catch up with Tyler Dittmer real quick and see what his thoughts were. And now I believe you're catching up with him on the radio.
Tyler, it's Hunter and Will in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Unfortunate there through 3 and 4. Kind of take us through your vantage point of what was going on as Keith Bradley and we believe Maurer taking it 3 wide into 3 there.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Bradley to be aggressive, but Bradley's not racing. It's the people who followed him just not being able to hold the line in a corner. We kind of saw it coming, but I was trying to get on the brakes a little bit to drop back and get in line and reset, because we still had 4 or 5 to go, and I knew that we could still make a run for it at 4 to 5 to go for the 5th row back. But 2 to go, kind of harder, but also didn't realize we have 1 fast available tonight. It's a dual race. Generally, we don't in this series, so it's kind of a nice surprise for me. So good times.
Unfortunately, you had to use it there, but like you said, you had a fast repair to use, so you're certainly not out of this one. So we'll get you back and let you get back to it. Hopefully, we'll talk to you at the end here.
Yep. Thanks, Hunter.
Again, that was the 34, Tyler Ditmore running up front and unfortunately getting caught the wrong end of the deal through 3 and 4 through that last wreck.
Yeah, unfortunate for that truck here tonight. One of the fastest trucks of the night here. Great run to move through the grid. Was racing very strong on that top side lane. Actually built up the top side lane there with a Rivera. But now as we head down the backstretch right now, the pace lights are off of the pace truck. We'll wait for that pace truck to head down pit road. We have a new leader on the racetrack. That is Keith Bradley in that 29 machine. And just a day removed from Kevin Harvick retiring. What a win it would be in dual race number 1 to put the 29 in victory lane.
For sure, but 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go when they take the green flag. Certainly going to need a good restart, and hopefully that bottom lane of Richards and Doucette can hold them strong, or we'll see if the top lane can stay formed up and potentially get Jose or another car out on that outside lane to see if they can pull something off of this very strong inside row.
We shall see here if this is our first restart of the night. We'll have 2 laps to go. Keith Bradley will take us to the line. The green flag is out. We are racing once again here in dual race number 1. That's Keith Bradley in the 29. Will take us down to corner number 1 with 2 laps to go.
Doucette will get a good restart as well, staying tight to the 29. As that outside lane will begin to form.
Oh!
Bradley, oh no, Doucette gets a push to Bradley.
Oh no!
Caution,
That is going to take out a bunch of cars out of that one.
Oh my goodness there, Hunter. We saw Keith Bradley trying to save that thing. A little bit of Tokyo drift action on the wheel. He's trying everything he can to save that. And just comes up into the track. No fault of his own, though, because we saw the battle he was fighting with himself there to save that thing. Makes contact with our race leaders. Basically everybody inside the top 5. Looks like Painter is going to escape that in the 99. We're going to take a look here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network to see what occurred there. As you see, the 29 is trying everything he can to save that thing. Collects Doucette on the top side. Looks like there's another truck involved there as well there, Hunter, on the top side. Just can't see who that is. But, man, what a caution here with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, as we look right now, Doucette is just going to give a little bit of a push to that inside corner panel of Bradley. Typically do not want to be doing any of the pushing in the corner. And as we mentioned, Bradley goes to the apron and just tries to save it. He is doing all that he possibly can. Bradley is a great wheelman, so for him to hold on to it would have been awesome. Unfortunate for him, he just couldn't do so, and collecting many different cars. CJ Fonda, Robbie Richards, Stephen Thomas, Kilgore, I believe. Not sure who that is on the grass. Just nowhere for anyone to go as green flag restart. Everyone is bunched up together. Very unfortunate for a lot of those drivers.
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed, but not the end of the world for these drivers. And, you know, we've gotten a good sample piece of probably what we're going to see in that main event. And I'm curious to see what Joey Doucette has next week in that 16. Basically been the race leader here the entire night on that inside lane. Nathan Maurer, a late entry into this race, came all the way basically from last place inside the top 5 there in that run, Hunter. So a lot of names that were piled up there in this late race accident here in dual race number 1. I think will be some names that will perform well next week.
For sure. And one person that's got to be lucky to make that out alive is your race leader, Jose. Just was out in front just enough that he didn't get clipped by any of that. So he is going to be very clean with the 99 running in that 2nd spot. Kyle Hess in the 3. Jonathan Pugh will be in the 4, and rounding out your top 5 will be Jonathan Munda from the 13th spot. So a couple of heavy movers. Jose from the 14 to the lead. Jonathan Munda from the 13 to the 5.
Yeah, as we're still under caution here, Hunter, as we're down the backstretch, I believe we'll have one more attempt at this, as that was our green-white checkered with 2 laps to go. So whatever happens here, folks, this will be official here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. This is dual race number 1. We'll have dual race number 2 just after this race here. There'll probably be about a minute or 2 break in between these races, and then we'll get things on and popping for dual race number 2. When we came onto the air here tonight, we spoke about that 17 truck of Bullock has automatically qualified for that pole position for next week's main event. So out here basically racing for fun, Hunter, but with a good run nonetheless.
For sure, like we said, he's on the pole. So tonight he's going for that money and playoff points. Playoff points very crucial in this league. Everyone is very, very good racing. Um, very tough league for sure. A lot of skill between everyone. So as many chances you can get playoff points, the better. You're gonna need them for sure.
Definitely here in a long season, you want to make sure you have as many points as possible. Things might get in the way, real life might get in the way, or you might have a bad race along the way. You might need those points to stack up to push you into that last spot in the playoffs. But as we see the pace lights are off of the pace truck, they'll lead us around one more time as we wait the green flag one more time with 2 laps to go here. This is our last attempt at a green-white checker.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we're done seeing wrecks, but as long as they can get to that white flag, the race will be completed under green. So unless we get another wreck or a caution before that white flag, unfortunately that will be the end of it, and they will finish under caution. Hopefully we can get to that white because everyone loves to see the race end under green for sure.
Definitely here is right now. We're looking at the 20 of Rivera is going to take us to the line. We have the 86 of Hess right there, the 99 of Painter on the top side. We'll see what happens here as we head down the backstretch with the pace lights are off, down into 3. Right now as we await our last attempt at a green-white checkered here, Hunter. It's been a calm race so far, but now we've had a couple cautions in succession. Let's see if we can get this thing finished under green as we hit the apex at 3 and 4. We're about to go green flag racing once again.
As the pace truck lights are off, we will officially crown our first winner of the season 6. I know last week was the Coliseum, but nothing really counted. So this will be your official first winner of the season.
Yeah, once this green flag flies, whatever happens here in these next 2 laps, it is all said and done. So watch the restart here to see who wants to pull out the fastest. As we hit the Geico restart zone, Rivera will take us to the start-finish line and take that green flag down at the corner number 1.
Good restart for the 20. However, you don't want to get too far out in front of anyone as you back up to that draft partner of yours. You definitely do not want to have to kill your momentum, especially this late in the race where every position is going to matter. As that outside row led by the 99 of Devin Painter just doesn't seem formed up as we have Kyle Hess jumping out to that top lane. They're very shaky. We have a car on the wall. They're going over. That is going to be Dittmer and Brandon Bullock spin into that inside of the racetrack, but we're going to stay out front as Kyle Hess in that 86 is going to be leading that outside lane. We have 3 wide behind him.
Whoa!
Not sure who that is who just made it through the field. That's going to be Derek Kilgore leading from 10th or 11th on that last lap when they took the green. He is leading as the white flag is out this time by Kilgore leading out front with CJ Fonda behind him. And look at Will Joey Doucette back up into the top 6 trying to get a win.
Yeah, he's trying to scrape out a good finish here tonight as Rivera will take us off of corner number 2, trying to hold off Kilgore, who just shot the gap there, make it 3 wide. He is now on the top side, being pushed by Fonda. Right there, we have a tight gap. We have leaders wrecking down the backstretch right now. Doucette's involved. Looks like some other trucks. No, Doucette is okay right there. Rivera will take us to the apex of 3 and 4. Still is our race leader here on the final lap.
Oh, no.
We have wrecking on 3 and 4 as Rivera will take us off of corner number 4 as our race leader. We have a battle at the line right now as Jonathan Pugh will try him at the line. Not going to be enough though as Rivera will take the win here in dual race number 1.
Wow. For those who can't see the timing at home, Jose Rivera will get the win by just 7 thousandths of a second over the 19 of Jonathan Pugh. And another truck we haven't really talked about the whole race, the 22 of Jess Sickles. He will bring it home in that 3 spot. Wow.
What a finish there, Hunter. We had about 3 accidents to the start-finish line, all inside the top 10. Rivera held strong. Jonathan Pugh held strong in that 19 as well. My hat goes off to Jonathan Pugh as well. I saw him drift as low as about the 13th or 14th position there. Climbed all the way through the grid, made it all the way back up there. had a battle at the line with Rivera, but it will be Jose Luis Rivera that will get the win here in dual race number 1. And what an awesome win it is for that 20 machine, as a name that wasn't really battling it out there all along, kept trying to build that top side lane up, build the top side lane. Once he got down to the low side, that was game over for the rest of the field, as it will be Jose Luis Rivera with the win here tonight.
And I don't want to make any assumptions, but I do believe that may just be his first NASRA win? Question mark? So we'll definitely have to ask him. Oh, I am being told he did get one at the end of last season, but nevertheless, still a great victory here at Daytona, which will put him third on the grid next week at the season opener.
What a race that was. We didn't have any cautions for about 85-90% of the race there, Hunter. And then we had 3 cautions to end this race here tonight. We used up all of our green-white checkers as well. But I believe we're catching up with our 3rd place finisher there. That is Jeff Sickles. If we can get him on the radio here, he's going to come home 3rd here tonight. Doesn't look like we have the ability. We do have the ability to speak with Jeff Sickles right there. Speak with him real quick and see what his thoughts are about this race here tonight. Hey Jeff, you're joining me and Hunter up here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network broadcast booth. Take us through this dual race here tonight. You're going to finish 3rd. Anything that you can take and move on to the main event from tonight's race?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of was around some new faces in the league, so wasn't sure what to expect. So kind of starting on talking to my teammate Steven Thomas. We first were thinking of just hanging in the back, but then said, you know what, it's the duels. Let's go see what we can do. And it was working until we had to do the green flag pit stops, and we both forgot to uncheck our tires. So it put us behind the 8 ball, but we got lucky there with the caution coming out there towards the end.
Yeah, pretty crazy finish here tonight. We didn't have any cautions for about 85% of the race. Then we had about 3 to end the race here tonight. How were you able to avoid all that commotion at the end of this race?
Honestly, it was pretty much just luck. The first one that happened in front of me, I just pulled it down into the grass, down into the left. And then on that white flag last lap, I just, kind of had just enough time to decide to go high or low when I needed to, and really just made it through by the skin of my teeth.
Well, a great finish here tonight in dual race number 1. Cannot wait to see what you have in store for that main event next week. But before we let you go, Jeff, is there anybody that you wanted to shout out here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to my friends and family that watch every Friday night. Brady for putting the league on. All of our sponsors, Butt Kicker, Pulse Poppers. Probably forgetting a bunch, but Millie's Restaurant and Catering, and all of the sponsors that make this happen. And looking forward to getting the season started next week. And thanks to you guys for putting the broadcast on. You guys are doing a great job.
Awesome, Jeff. We appreciate that, my man. We appreciate you taking the time with us here, and we'll see you next week here in the main event.
Sounds good. Have a good one, boys.
Yes, sir. And that was Jeff Sickles there, our 3rd place finisher. But I believe, Hunter, you're catching up with Jonathan Pugh, who almost had it there at the line.
Yeah, we got Jonathan, Hunter and Will in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Wow, what a finish there to the end.
I know.
I believe we saw you. Yeah, I believe we saw you caught up in a wreck early on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, there was a wreck. But me and Kyle Hess were able to make it through, and I was just happy, coming with that kind of mindset to just kind of keep it clean.
Yeah, we saw you up front a lot, pushing the 16 to Joey Doucette. Eventually, he had some misfortune, and that gave you some room up front. But take me through that last lap, that absolute calamity that ensued all around the entire field, as it left you and Jose to battle it out to the finish.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting watching them, wreck behind us, and when I seen that kind of open up, it was like battle to the finish, and I was hoping I would have enough momentum coming off the front to just pass him, but I didn't give enough space between me and him to pull that draft in. But as I was telling him earlier, I was just happy to finish, and I think it was one hell of a show.
For sure, just 7 thousandths of a second separating you from a win. But as you mentioned, survival. What did you learn tonight that you can apply to next week to hopefully be there at the end? As next week we go into no fast repairs, so a full race and having to survive to the end.
I think having a mindset of just being patient and kind of letting the race come to you kind of makes it a little bit easier. Instead of going in there gung ho, wanting to get first the very first lap, but it's all about patience and letting that truck settle in and just let it carry on from there.
Awesome. Well, the time is yours now to give any shout outs or special thanks.
I'd just like to thank NASRA for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this, M1 Race Cars to allow me to be able to sponsor the series, my family, and my girlfriend, which is actually watching, my friend Manny and his wife. A shout out to all you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys Monday.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jonathan. Hopefully, we get to talk to you next week at the season opener.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to be in the front again.
Awesome. Well, thanks, John. Again, that was the 19 of Jonathan Pugh coming home in the second spot. And Will, I believe we're going to have a very happy Jose Rivera.
Yeah, that 20 machine of Jose Rivera, like I mentioned there to end that broadcast off, trying everything that they could on the top side to build up that lane. Was a leader up there pushing along. He was a leader pushed along as well. It made it to that low side there on that restart. Avoided everything we saw to close out this race. Here tonight, Jose, you were able to beat Jonathan Pugh to the line. Take us through this race here tonight. How are you able to get this dual race number 1 win?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in that race. I worked together with my teammate. I don't know if it came out on the broadcast there. Tyler Dittmer, the number 34. He was working with me for a while there in the middle of the race before he got collected in that situation, that 3 wide caution there. We worked together, got to the lead. It was fun. And then we got that restart. When that restart came around, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go because the outside had been pushing the whole race, but I felt like if there was a caution, the inside would be ahead. So I decided to go on the inside, and yeah, the cars just fell in place.
Yeah, they did indeed. And we saw you all night trying to, like you just mentioned there, work with your teammate Tyler Dittmer there. At the very end, though, we had about 3 cautions that came out in succession. We had some leaders wrecking. We had some other trucks wrecking inside the top 10. Did that ever kind of shake your focus at all? Did you ever know any of that was happening, or were you just focused on taking that checkered flag?
Oh, I was paying attention to everything going on. I saw multiple wrecks that seemed to be developing that never really came through. I saw Doucette go sideways once. I saw Keith Bradley go sideways once. I saw when Tyler Dittmer got caught up in his wreck. But I was just focusing on trying to stay out of trouble for that checkered.
Yeah, obviously you're going to take a win from this week, but what else did you learn from this dual race that you think you can apply for that main event when we kick off the regular season next week?
When it comes to the super speedways, I think my philosophy is a little different than most. Most people like to lay back, keep it safe, and that's probably the smarter decision. But if you ever watch one of these super speedways, you're gonna see me top 3, top 4. I just want to go out there and have a good time. I love racing for the lead. I love trying to get to the front, and it's paying off lately. So I'll keep doing it.
Awesome, Jose. But as we have you down here in Victory Lane here in Dual Race number 1, we'd love to give you that opportunity to shout out anybody that you had watching here tonight or any sponsors that made that win possible for you.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Blanchard's Towing, M1 Race Cars, Warrior Wraps, Pulse Poppers, Hoopty's Garage for sponsoring the playoffs, Triple M Pulling for being being the sponsor of this whole series, NASRA, Dum Dums Gaming, and Depp, which is my painter. Depp iRacing Paint, if you guys want to check them out. Very good work.
Awesome, Jose. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. Congratulations on that dual race number 1 win. I cannot wait to see you next week to see if we can put that 20 in Victory Lane in the regular season opener. We appreciate it, man. Go celebrate this victory.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. And that was Jose Rivera there, Hunter. And I believe that's going to bring us to an end of dual race number 1. What a race it was there. We had about 3 cautions, but it will be Jose Luis Rivera in that 20 machine that gets the race victory. We're going to step aside for just a minute or two. We'll be right back with dual race number 2.